introduce Mr. David Brooks from Global Power Mission. Global Power Mission is one of our key partners for the world building. David, the stage is yours.
Thank you. And do you have our presentation? Yes, I do. You know, Michael would be here, but we've had disaster hit our home state, and we've had 2 hurricanes. A quick story about that. You know, Michael's leading the way to give aid, be there first on the first day. We actually had a Ukrainian group coming to do an event with us in Miami, and we told them it's canceled, and their other events were canceled. We said, don't even come. They came anyway. I don't have a picture of it, but they came to help us. And they came and they helped in our warehouse, pack things. And I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, this is beautiful. We have Ukrainians here helping us. It's like a full circle of empowerment. And I do believe Ukraine one day could help the world. So he's not here, I am. And the next slide, there's a video. It's going to talk about our Farm to Frontline program. Oops. Global.
Of Europe, basically. If you take the maximum capacity in terms of producing grain and other foodstuffs, and where it's operating now, how far off of the maximum are we?
Oh, in Ukraine, they're down probably 50%.
Під час війни, коли розпочалася, було дуже важко в тому плані, що порти були перекриті і вивозу зерна ніякого не було ніякої можливості. А завдяки таким нашим товаровиробникам, які брали нас зерно, переробляли на крупи, брали соняшник, переробляли на олію, ми змогли весною і вижити, щоб було платити податки, було платити ці гроші людям за роботу. До таких товаровиробників, щоб працювали в нас тут, було побільше. Нашу мінімально відправляти його в Одесу чи ще десь, якби його ми самі переробили.
Донецкой области, Донбасса, города Славянска. Ситуация, что там сейчас обосновалась, нам пришлось выехать оттуда, там жить невозможно. Ну, переехали сюда, знакомым, живем на квартире. Спасибо ему большое, взял нас на работу, потому что тут таковой работы нет. Ну, вообще ничего не сказать. Ну, выехали мы с семьей сюда. Помощь, ну, так периодически бывает. Если бы не работать здесь временно, то мы не знаем, за что вы жили.
Благодаря нашей инициативе, вашей поддержке, в общем-то, год назад мы его начали устанавливать и потихонечку производим это масло. Задействуем людей, которые здесь работают, в основном это те люди, которые перемещенные, беженцы. Они находят здесь работу и могут здесь работать на этом производстве. Не только здесь на производстве масла, но и производство муки, производство макарон, то есть здесь даем возможность людям находиться возможность работы.
And thank you to the Howard Buffett Foundation for this program. I don't know if you heard the beginning, but what Michael was saying was that through the Buffett Foundation, let me give you the numbers. We've recapitalized 20 food production facilities. We're working with 30 mid-sized farms. And we're producing everything that we are giving to the front lines. And I'll go over those numbers, but they're substantial. So this program alone is another full circle of empowerment. And we have about 2,000 people employed through this whole system. And it produces about 250,000 of those boxes per month. So we're giving out over 55,000, 60,000 boxes per week to the frontline communities. Seed program. And I'm going to confess something. I wasn't going to share the story I told you guys. So I was in the taxi coming from the airport here. And, you know, being nice to the taxi cab driver, where are you from? Do you like Chicago? He was from Nigeria. You know, I'm from Atlanta, and I'm coming up, and I'm thinking about my speech. And I told him, he goes, oh, you're speaking? I said, yeah, the Ukrainian event. So he paused a bit, and he goes, I think you need to talk about planting seeds. And I was like, how does he even know? That's my first slide. And so I asked him, I showed him that, and he looked at me and he pointed above, and he goes, you need to talk about planting seeds. So I got out, so I need to talk about planting seeds. This is our seed program here. Again, Howard Buffett. And what I love about this program here is, and we get a feed on our phone starting when the seeds are being handed out in the early spring, and I get pictures of each distribution as I run the data to the UN. But what I see in the seed program is I see joy, I see hope. And if you look at the faces here, I see crying, I see happiness, you're sowing hope. And it's not just giving them food now, you're giving them something they can watch, they can cultivate, they can grow. So there's a lot of joy there. Next slide. These are the areas, frontline and a little bit in essential, that we serve here. That's the total number of seed packets, 1.6 million. But next slide, I'll show you what we're giving out. It's about 30 different vegetables right there. That's the total seed packets. And to give you an idea, I brought a seed, and it's so small I can't even find it in my pocket now. But a seed packet is about this big. So you got 100 plus seeds in there. 100 plus seeds can grow a lot of stuff. It can fill up most of the tables in this room with one packet. Now think about 1.6 million times all the tables in this room. You don't just have a warehouse full of food, you have a stadium full of food, maybe many stadiums. Next year, our program in 2025, we are already producing seeds and packing them in Ukraine. We're not going to import them all now. We want to pack them in Ukraine, which will create more jobs. This should quadruple that number. We're going to be over 6 million packets, which will be about over 500 million seeds for 2025. And next slide, please. Food box program. I want to say one more thing about seeds, because it's many of you know the story, the parable of the seeds. There was a sower. He threw seeds on the ground, scattered seeds. Some of it went on a path and people walked on it. Some of it went in the rocks and it couldn't really get a root. Some of it got choked out because it wasn't, the thorns came in. And then some fell into good soil. I think Ukraine is good soil. It's good soil with the people. The aid we're giving there is not in vain. And even though we're helping people that can no way help us back on the front line, the elderly, the vulnerable, what we're giving to the country as a whole, this empowerment, I think Ukraine is a country that could one day help the world. Food box program. This is related to what you saw on Farm to Frontline, the video. So those are the boxes right there. We hit about 700 villages per month on runs. That's 375 semi-trucks per month. Each box is about 35,000 calories, 57 meals. So that can feed a family of 3 for about 2.5 weeks. We count it in UN statistics, that counts as about 550,000 people per month that we are feeding. Next slide. So this is a map. When I tried to do the whole map, it just looked like a bunch of dots that were together. I'll be the weatherman here and come a little closer. This is Donetsk. This is part of the Eastern Front, as you know. So this is just one example. We go all the way from Khersonska, Zaporizhzhia, all the way to Sumska, and it looks like this. 223 settlements, In August in Donetska, we gave out 47,000 family food kits just to Donetska, which supported just alone in this oblast 117,000 people. That's for 1 month. That goes on every month. How do we know they need food? Well, it's rough on the front line. But we stay in touch with the local authorities. We stay in touch with the UN, myself with the World Food Program, and our own assessment. World Food Program, I had a call earlier this week. They said it's too dangerous from one of the Hermanas. They agreed that we would take it over completely. We have armored vehicles to go to these places that are really rough right now, and it is rough. It's a hard time. Water program too. So we've actually upped the numbers of this. You know, we would love that drilling wells and you know, water infrastructure be working, but it keeps getting hit by missiles and, you know, other, you know, dam breaking and everything. There's still a hard time in these areas. So our water program this month, I don't have the numbers up there, but for September, we did in bottles, these 6-liter bottles, we did 333,000 of those bottles, about 2 million liters of water that we're taking to frontline communities. Next. Generator program. This is a interesting one because we had 100 of these big generators or bigger from 50 to 300 kVA we gave out this year, and the big ones can run a hospital. They're big. And so Howard's team bought them from the World Cup in Qatar. They had an auction, so we got a great deal, brought them to Ukraine, put them to good use. And they're there, and we also give out small generators. But this runs schools, social institutes, keeping things going while the power's out. Next slide. And of course, we do it because we got a great logistics program. And we, you know, our trucks really are our warehouse, you know, and we operate out of Kyiv, which is where we have a lot of volunteers. And we pack and we go on runs. We have, of course, the big trucks, but when we go to smaller places, we take vans and, you know, or a dangerous situation, an armored vehicle. Next slide. So rebuilding program. Last year, I think when Michael, the year before last, we talked about Goldsana Street. We had a major rebuilding program there in Bucha. We have moved on now to, I think the windows is one of the biggest issues in Ukraine. Next slide. So with all the attacks, we have seen that this is a real issue everywhere, all over Ukraine now, and it's even going to Western Ukraine. We just did a big project in Ivano-Frankivsk. We did, you know, we've done projects in Lviv, but of course, all along the Eastern Front. And I want to tell another story about seeds and cultivation and this. Actually, at your conference in 2 years ago, I met Victor. And you know, so let's talk, we cultivated a relationship together. And Victor called me up and he said, "You guys doing windows?" And I said, "Yes." And so I put him in touch with our team. He ended up, his project, we gave them 100 windows. I want to thank you for this platform, this field where we can all sow seeds together and build these relationships. But anyway, we did a project with that. To date, it seems unbelievable, but we have done 196,000 window panels in Ukraine. This has helped hundreds of thousands of people, and thanks to the Howard Buffett Foundation, we have bought out production in at least 2 big factories for windows. We're employing 300 people a day, or 300 people overall in installation and creating windows. We're making over 300 windows per day. So, if you want to take a picture, you can look at some of our stats right here. This is where we upload our stats. I'll give you a moment to take a picture of that. Next slide. You can ask me later too. And you'll see window program, generator program, seed program. You click on one of those. So this is an example of the windows program here. You can go to the region. It tells you the number of apartments, private houses, educational, hospitals, and it also has actually the square meters of windows, of panels that we cut, the number of panels, and the number of projects. And that is for the Dnipro region. And total, right there, 196,000. And for that region, you can see the numbers over there. That's since inception. That's not 1 month. This is for the region. Some examples of before and after. This is a hospital in Dnipro, and you can see the majority of the windows are gone. That's in afterwards. And these things, when we do the windows program, we'll get a call from either authorities or even some other charities we know. And they'll call us up, and then we'll send a team out. We'll do the measurements, and they get back to us, and we cut it, you know, custom for the project. So, what I love about global empowerment, our team is, they're qualified, no doubt about it. They're professional. But these are guys that have lost houses, their livelihoods, you know, even some of them family members. But they've all banded together. And this is all Ukrainian there. And we support them from here. And I go sometimes over there, but like, it's really part of our mission that this be a Ukrainian mission, that this be a Ukrainian team. And what I love about Global Empowerment Mission is it's actually, we're empowered from the top. So we're empowered within to go empower other people. And the dream of empowerment is that one day, although doing aid, you give people, it can never give in return. But sometimes it comes back, and the people that you empower will go empower other people. And that's a beautiful thing. And I think there's one more slide. That's us with our website. Thank you.
I don't like being empowered by Jem because I've been to the warehouse in Kyiv, and actually I was there before it was established, and it took probably 3 or 4 months before it was like not ready demolished place until the full running highly logistical operations, and it was really like making a huge impression. So thank you for what you're doing.
And thank you for hosting us.
Great.